The 2024 F1 calendar is a huge problem, and drivers are threatening to retire because of it. See, right after the 2024 F1 calendar was announced, we can notice that there are 24 races in the season. This is 2 more than what we had in 2023. Now, most people generally reacted positively towards the 2024 calendar because there are more races and more entertainment, as well as there are less season breaks for us Formula 1 fans to endure. But I guess everybody forgot the fact that there would be more opportunities for the Dutch anthem to be playing throughout the season. But generally, everybody, including myself, are looking forward to the multiple races that will come to F1, and everybody's just looking forward to it, except for F1's own drivers. So there have been 2 drivers who are threatening the idea of retiring to the FIA after they launched the 24 race calendar, the first driver being our dad, Fernando Alonso. So bro has been racing in F1 for over 20 years now, and with the announcement of more races being added to the calendar, he recently mentioned that he might consider retiring. And yes, this fucking broke my heart, like especially considering Alonso has just found a competitive form with a capable car and a competent team after years and years of Italian incompetence, McLaren Honda torture, and Alpine's fuckovers. So seeing him consider retiring again only after the 2023 season sucks. You know, he's also said that the schedule was very demanding, especially with triple headers, and it could really drain his motivation and energy as a driver. This I completely understand because there's 2 triple headers now in the season, and the schedule goes from the 29th of February and concludes on the 8th of December. This is nearly 10 months of continuous racing. Like, I would personally be mentally drained just from that. And don't forget the physical toll that some of these races could have on the drivers. For example, Qatar literally had drivers passing out after the race. And I know Fernando is probably going to race till 2050 or maybe even 2077, straight up looking like this. But damn, you know, FIA, the dude is 42. He might still be performing as good as other drivers, but give the man a break, especially after his back got severely injured for carrying the fuck out of Aston Martin. Now, Fernando also criticized the decision to race mostly on street circuits like Las Vegas. He mentioned that the F1 cars are designed for high-speed corners instead of slow ones, which are mostly found in, well, street circuit tracks. But in my personal opinion, Las Vegas was actually a race that I originally thought would be an absolute atrocity, would just be another money-making race in the US, where they would just invite celebrities that just couldn't give 2 shits about the sport. Part of that is still right, but Las Vegas turned out to be a very entertaining race, one that really got me to the edge of my seat, even when I was rooting for Alonso, who got spun and unbelievably kissed at the start.
That's the contact with Bottas.
Another driver who has voiced their concerns is Max Verstappen, a driver whom I personally did not expect at all to ever really threaten retirement, but he somewhat did. So Max didn't directly threaten to retire like Alonso, since of course he still has an entire career ahead of him. Max mentioned that he is very worried for the future of the sport. If they're just gonna keep endlessly adding races after the other for the sake of making money and maximizing profits without caring about the personnel or the drivers, it's gonna make a lot of people consider leaving F1 because of how impractical it is to try to keep up with its standards. Now, this is definitely not up for debate. I mean, it makes sense why drivers are concerned about this because in the past couple of years, there have been, you know, less races and now there's more. So it's right for drivers to assume that there will be more races in the future that the FIA might consider adding to the calendar. With the possibility of these F1 tracks coming back to the sport, there's also huge concerns as to the logistics and also the health of the personnel and drivers. Now, speaking about the personnel and the crew in F1, the 2024 F1 calendar is just as concerning for them as it is for the drivers. George Russell even voiced his concerns about the toll of the extensive schedule on the F1 community. Because if you think about it, more races also mean that there will be more physical and mental challenges faced by mechanics, engineers, pit stop crew, and other team members due to constant time zone and environmental shifts every week or 2. Just imagine, you're an F1 crew member all the way in Vegas, and then bam, 19 hours later you're in Abu Dhabi having to fix a $12 million car with probably 2 brain cells left and 1 hot coffee to start up your day. Like, don't even forget the part where your body probably can't even tell whether it's night or day because your body clock has probably been fucked over from the numerous flights in the past couple of weeks. Like, I wouldn't blame any crew members for leaving the sport after having to go through that. Don't forget the part where F1 legit promised to reach 0 emissions by 2030, and yet we have races legit separated by over 10,000 fucking miles, in the 2023 season. Like, I understand if there's a problem with scheduling, but damn, you know, going from Saudi Arabia, then all the way back to Australia, and then back to Europe, and then to the US, and then back to Europe again, like, holy shit. FIA, you guys can do way better than that. Like, it's a good thing though that the 2024 season looks a lot tamer, with a bunch of the races in Europe being grouped up together and the pairing of US to Mexico to Brazil and then back to the US again. But there's still a lot of ineffectiveness in the schedule, which I'm not exactly gonna bitch about since I know nothing about managing a motorsport. But still, F1 could use a lot more of an effective schedule, not just to reduce the emissions caused from the sport, but also allow the drivers and personnels to have to not go through the huge time zone shifts and extremely long flights. Like, I honestly don't even know how they pull it off. Like, I'm not much of a travel guy myself, so if I'm on a plane for more than like 8 hours, I'm either throwing up, going to the bathroom every chance I get, or watching Charles Leclerc DNF highlights so I can kill time by crying myself to sleep. So overall, F1 really needs to consider how they really schedule things, because Fernando and Max are already concerned with the demands of the sport. Like, I don't exactly blame them. There's 2 triple headers in the 2024 season, which means there's 2 successive weekends of 3 races in a row. Like, many personnels have definitely voiced out their concerns, and many have pointed out how ineffective F1's plan is to reduce all carbon emissions. So they really have to do something about the races and try to sort things out to be both efficient at generating profits, but at the same time keeping the drivers and staff happy. Now, I'm not that concerned with the whole carbon emissions thing. Like, sure, climate change and environmental stuff is pretty real out there, but as long as they don't replace the engines with some electric bullshit, like, I'll be fine, you know. But still, F1 emits approximately over 256,000 fucking tons of carbon dioxide every season. That is a lot, but obviously not as heavy as the depression that a Ferrari fan carries over their shoulders. Like, come on guys, stop falling for the same trap. You know Max is gonna win anyways.